Why does work still suck for so many people? It doesn't have to. And I think there's actually a fairly simple explanation that I'll share with you in this video. And it's one of those things that once you know it, you can use it to take steps to make work suck less for not just yourself, but the people that you work with, regardless of where you work or who you work for. And this is what it boils down to. We have decades of research from employee surveys and academic studies that tell us that when you take a look at, when you go talk to employees about their experience with work, and you look for what are the things that drive employee engagement and satisfaction, what are the things that help people want to perform better, that help people want to stick around at their organization, the things that bubble up in that research are perhaps not what you would expect. Sure, people want to be paid fairly. Of course they do. But the things that really drive those feelings of engagement, those things that make you feel really connected to your employer, that make you want to go above and beyond in your work, the things that, we're all craving, that we want from our work. We want our work to feel meaningful. Those things sound like this. We want to feel valued at work. We want to work for people who appreciate our efforts and our contributions. We want to be able to trust the people we work with. We want to feel like we're trusted. We want to feel like someone that we work with cares about us. Specifically, we want to know that our manager cares about us as people. All of this is borne out in research study after research study over the last 30 or 40 years. And the interesting thing about this data, and it probably resonates for you as you listen to those things, is that when you take that list of things, feeling appreciated and valued and cared for and trusted, that often doesn't sound very much like the work experience. Right? That doesn't sound like work at all for a lot of people. What it sounds more like is the way that we describe a relationship we have with another human being. And I think this was a big realization for me. I spent a good part of my career studying employee engagement. And when I realized and recognized that these were relational terms, it hit me like a lightning bolt. Employees, those of us that have done work or do work for an organization, we experience work more like a relationship than we do anything else. For us, work is a relationship. And it's no different than any other relationship in our life. We want the same things from it. And it's a very important relationship when you consider the amount of hours we spend doing work, the amount of our identity, sort of how we talk about who we are that's wrapped up in our work and our employment. So this is a really important relationship. And I think when you recognize that work is a relationship for employees, that's where we start to understand why work still sucks for so many people. And it really boils down to this. Most employers, organizations, still think about work not as a relationship, but as a contract with the employee. It's a transactional exchange, right? The employer offers money to the employee in exchange for time and effort and work output. And most of the management and HR practices that we have in place, you think about things like policy manuals and job descriptions and performance appraisals and things like performance improvement plans, right? When you're not living up to what's expected of you, all of these things are tools for the organization and the manager to enforce your compliance as an employee with that contract. And I'll be honest that those practices have reaped rewards for employers over the years. It's been fairly effective at driving productivity, but here is the problem. It's a terrible way to approach relationship building. I mean, if you've ever been in a relationship like that, a romantic relationship or a friendship where, the person on the other side of that relationship, perhaps never expresses that they care about or appreciate you. Maybe there's no trust there, but they're very specific in reminding you or holding you to account for their expectations of you, right? They're enforcing that contract, right? Those friends suck, or that relationship sucks. And much like that, when work is like that for us, that work relationship also sucks. So there's the rub, right? There is the heart of the issue, is that we as employees, as people, experience work as a relationship. We want it to feel and function like a relationship. That's what we need. When we talk about our jobs to other people, when we talk about what's working, it's often those kinds of things. I don't feel valued. I don't feel seen. It doesn't seem like anybody even cares. Or we're talking about the poor ways that we're treated. It sounds like the same way we talk about being in a terrible relationship with another person, right? We're in this relationship, and yet our employers are treating it like a contract. That's not going to work out. That is a recipe for a breakup. And so no wonder work sucks for so many people. So what can you do about it? Well, if you're an employee, one of the things that you can do is when you recognize this, is that you can take steps to be the coworker, to be the person that you want others to be, to create a better work relationship. So, think about what are the things that are important to you. If you having good connection and relationships with your coworkers is something that most of us value, most of us want more of. So how are you taking actions to reach out and connect to your peers, to your coworkers? Do you schedule meetings to get to know people or to connect with them? If you're in the same geographic location, do you schedule a lunch or a coffee with a coworker just to get to know them better, right? To get to know them as people. Right? Taking those steps not only will help you perhaps get what you need, but it's also a step to help the people around you perhaps get what they need. They may not even know, that's a mouthful, that what they need is stronger connection and relationship. And so you can take that first step to start creating it, and then you're likely to get that back. Likewise, you want more appreciation, show more appreciation to the people around you, and you'll be surprised that a lot of that will come back to you. And if it doesn't over time, then perhaps you just work in a place that isn't ever going to be a great place to work, and you should think about finding someplace different to work. Now, if you're a manager, embracing that work is a relationship is critically important, because as a manager, you're the face of that relationship to the employee. You're the most important experience of the relationship to the employee. So the most important thing that you can do as a manager to help work feel like a relationship for the employee is to frequently check in with them, right? To check in meaningfully and check in often. So that means checking in with them just generally to see how they are doing. That's checking in on their well-being, checking in on sort of how things are going in their life broadly, like really expressing an interest and trying to understand what's really going on with that employee. It's also checking in about how work is going, what's going well, what are they struggling with, what challenges might they have, so that you can hear and understand what do they need, where can you be helpful, what obstacles can you help remove? All of that really important. So checking in with them shows interest. It's an investment on your part in that relationship with the employee. But it also gives you an opportunity to get to know them better, to build more connection, to actually build a better foundation of a relationship with them. Because when an employee's experience with their manager is one where it feels like a good, healthy relationship, when you have a good relationship with your manager, you're far more likely to feel like your relationship with work in general is positive. So when we recognize and embrace that work is a relationship and we start to treat it that way, both as employees, as managers, and hopefully as leaders of organizations, work will suck less. It will be more rewarding, more fulfilling, and more enjoyable for everybody. And by the way, when we are more engaged, we also perform better. We do better work. So treat work like a relationship, and you'll be amazed by the results. See you next time.